All right, you guys, today I'm going to walk you through a complete install of Enagic's K8 ionizer. We're also going to set up a pre-filter by Multipure. It's underneath the sink, nice and stashed away. And we also have a custom secondary faucet. This is a great option to set up for your home to keep your other faucet free. Let's get going. All right, so you can see here we have the K8 by Enagic. This is the water ionizer. Plug there, plugs right into the wall, right into the faucet. I've got my Aquaperform pre-filter by Multipure and a little stand that it goes in. That's a stainless steel housing, so we're not tossing away single-use plastic every time you renew your filter. And I like the secondary faucet from Ionfaucet, something that you can do to give your ionizer its own faucet and leave your faucet free to use for the dishes and everything like that. And my goal is to do everything here today with just a single wrench, basic wrench. I got two just in case.
We're here under the sink. First thing we want to do, turn off the water. We don't want any surprises. The cold water is a little bit behind the sink here. Turned off.
This is the cold water line, comes right off the cold water that I just turned off. I have a little splitter here, which would be nice because I'll just take this cold water line. One line's going to go up to my secondary faucet. The other one's going to go to the main faucet that it's already hooked up to. So I'm just going to take this apart and put a splitter in there. Okay, so here's how it's going to go. Water comes from my cold line. I put this splitter in here. This is going to go to the regular faucet. This splitter here is going to attach to this tubing, which is going to go into my Multipure pre-filter. It's going to come out of the other hole into tubing that connects here into my secondary faucet. This is up on top of the sink, and this line is going to go into the K8 and come out to pour. Let's get it. Okay, I unscrewed it. You might have a little bit of water leak out, but not much since you turned off the water line from the wall. And we're gonna go ahead and put this right in between. Okay, here we go. We've got our splitter in. Keep in mind, if you turn your water on now, it's gonna shoot out of here. So you're gonna wanna fully set this up to your filter and to the K8 before you open up that line again. So this is gonna be a good time for us to set up our Multipure pre-filter. We're just gonna unscrew this knob and we're gonna put the filter inside. This is the stand I have, so it can stand upright underneath the sink or above the sink if you wanna display it. You can also screw in this mount, which is pretty handy, and it'll connect right to that. I'm just gonna use the stand though. Okay, got it unscrewed. We're gonna simply lift it and pull it out of its little home right there, and we're gonna open it up. Okay, ring comes off. I'm gonna go ahead and get the bottom part of the housing, sit it right in its nifty stand here. We're gonna put in the filter. Okay, take off the wrapping. You're gonna want this opening side to be up. Go ahead and drop it in. We're gonna put on the lid. This is actually gonna screw into the filter. Okay, screws right in from the top. You can see once it's connected, it'll pull up the filter with it. Don't over tighten it since it's metal on plastic. You don't wanna bust the threading, but get it nice and tight so it's watertight. We're gonna put this back on. Okay, now that the filter's in, I went ahead and took it out of the housing so we could attach it. Can I do it one-handed? Sorry, I had to use my other hand to get that piece in. And then we're gonna go ahead and tighten it. We want it pretty tight since this will be filling up with water in the housing. Okay, go ahead and tighten it till it squawks. You want a little bit of a squawk, and then you're good. Back to your home. Okay, we're back to the sink zone. Got our pre-filter here. We've got 2 of these little valves for the hose, the plastic tubing. And we're gonna go ahead and just screw those right into the filter. Now, get both of these set up, but before you put the hose in, make sure you got the right line coming in from the source and out to the secondary faucet. Because once you put the tubing in, it's not gonna wanna come out. Okay, next we're gonna go ahead and get the secondary faucet set up. I like to get this set up first, nice and tight with the sink, so that when it's time to plug in that hose, it's nice and simple. This is on there and you just push the hose right in, you're good to go. Here we are at the faucet. Now, if you want to bypass the secondary faucet, you can. You can always just use this one. You can unscrew here and put a little diverter on here, twist a knob, it'll shut off the line and go from there into your machine. However, I like to have it kind of free, keep this thing, you know, alone in its own world. And over here we've got filtered and ionized world, chromed out. Now mine is a little tight on space since I have this deep dish sink. I don't know how easily I'm gonna be able to film this for you, but on that threaded end that comes down here, first I'm gonna put this washer on, then that bigger washer, then screw on the nut all the way up to the top of the piping to the bottom of the sink, and then this will be free to screw on the very bottom. Okay, we got the end piece on here. Just like the hose, tubing, it's gonna go right in. All right, you guys, your boy's a G. Just to help you out to get a better visual, I went ahead and took my sink out of its little fixture, just so that you can see this back angle of how I have my secondary faucet set up. You want both of your washers and then the nut, and then go ahead and screw this piece on. It's gonna go right to the tubing. We're gonna let the tubing hang down for when we're ready to put in our pre-filter. And it's gonna come right from here to the pre-filter and out of the pre-filter to the secondary faucet. Let's get it. Okay, so you can see in the red, that's the in where the cold water comes in. The right, the blue, this is going out to our secondary faucet. So I'm gonna hook up this hose from the in to our splitter here on the cold water line. All right, here we go. You literally just push it in, but once it's in, it's not coming out. So double check you got this right. Here's our splitter into the red line. Then my white line that's coming from the secondary faucet. Boom, right in there. We're set to go. All right, it's a little bit of a loop-de-loo. I had to jam it back behind the sink so there's room for each line. These are going unobstructed from and to their various places. Now before we turn the water line back on to make sure there's no leaks here, we're gonna wanna put a hose here that will go to our K8. We're gonna run some water through this filter first before the K8 and just have it come out here and into the sink. All right, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and loosen this piece, take it off. We're gonna actually go ahead and put this on over our hose. Hose is gonna go on like so. Make sure it's all the way. I didn't tighten this very much. You guys might want to make sure you do that. And then go ahead and twist this on. Now we're ready to turn that water on and run some water through the pre-filter without any spillage. Now I turn the cold water on. You're gonna hear it flowing. It's gonna fill up. It's gonna fill up that whole filter tight before it starts coming out. All right, you guys, so we got the water line on. It's filled up the filter. There's water pressure. Make sure you have all these hoses on really nice and tight. We can just open it up. It's gonna come right out. I'm gonna let this run for about 10 minutes, just so I'm not pumping this water filter as I fill it up and cleanse it through my machine. And if we need to stop, just turn that knob. Okay, I've let this run for about 10 minutes to fill up and cleanse my pre-filter. Nobody likes to waste water, but it's safety first. Not to mention 10 minutes of this is about a minute of your shower running, so it's not that big of a deal. Let's go ahead and connect it to the K8. Okay, we've got the K8 up next to the sink, ready to get this flowing. First thing you're gonna wanna do is pull off the little sheath to access the water line. This is going to be where the acidic water comes out, and the top is going to be where the alkaline water comes out. We'll go ahead and show it off. Brand new, baby. And this line that comes out of the back, we're going to plug in here. Now you'll see underneath where the water goes in, this line here, I'm going to go ahead and exchange for this one. And instead of draining the water, it's going to pump through our machine. And it's going to come out of this hose. All right, go ahead and take this little end cap out. Same way we did it with the other hose. We're going to put on our threaded fitting. We're going to push this onto our secondary faucet nice and tight. Go ahead and screw that into place. Now when I turn on this water, instead of coming out and going through the drain, it's going to go through our K8 machine and out of the hose into the sink. All right, I've got my machine laid down. We're going to go ahead and put some power in to the bottom here. Plug it in. All right, plugged into the bottom underneath. And go ahead and bring it back up. Cord's coming out, plug it into the wall. All right, let's go ahead and plug her in.
Powering on.
We're live, baby. Ready to do a test. Already ran a little water through it before I plugged it in. Go ahead and turn this knob. Water's going through the pre-filter up into the bottom of the machine. It's gonna come out of both of these hoses. Again, we're gonna let this run just like the filter, the pre-filter. We're gonna let this run for about 10 minutes before we take that sip. Just to keep it nice and clean, go ahead and tie up the cord underneath. We don't want any loose parts hanging out. Machine's in. It's coming out of both tubes, and this is totally separate. Flowing. We got the touchscreen here if you want to go ahead and change the pH. That 9.5. I got another video for you guys to watch about the different settings here, but for right now, we work our way up from 8.5 to 9.5, give our body a little time to detox. This is what we want to be on for drinking. That good 9.5. I want to show you guys a little bit of that molecular hydrogen gas. Might be hard to see in this lighting. All the bubbles. If you run it a little slow, it'll give it more time to ionize, more time to create that structured active hydrogen in there. As y'all can see, those bubbles, that's what we want. This is what the bottled alkaline water will not do. That's active hydrogen, the world's strongest antioxidant. Let's get it, people. Just to show you the pH. Of course, purple is alkaline, 9.5. Oh yeah, deep purple. That's beautiful. We're in business. The thing I like to do once we're finished is get a piece of paper or a paper towel. Go ahead and put it underneath the sink, just so you can tell if there's any water dripping. We want this super tight, no leaks underneath. And sometimes it's a little hard to tell, so we're gonna go ahead and put some water down, check back throughout the next day and make sure we're nice and tight. But we are looking good. As you can see, we're flowing from our secondary faucet through our machine out to alkaline and acidic hoses. Our other faucet is free. If you want to wash dishes, this one runs separate. Normally what you would do if you did use a secondary faucet is you would get one of these diverters that comes with your device. And you're going to simply pull this down, unscrew here, and attach it. And it's got a little knob that you turn if you want the water to divert from this faucet over to the machine. Personally, I like the secondary faucet. If you have the hole for it, it's a great way to go.